Hello, everybody. It's Paul Hogden from SEO Underground. I am here today with Adam from Niche Website Builders, and Adam is going to be speaking at SEO Underground on the 14th of October. And I thought it would be a great idea to get Adam on here, have a chat with him, and find out a little bit more about his past. How are you doing, Adam?
I'm good, thanks, Paul. I'm really good. It's very sunny here in the UK, which is awesome. We don't have this weather very often this time of the year, so it's very nice.
That is very true. And aren't we typical British people talking about the weather before we do anything else? That is
talk about.
Well, I think we talk about it more because it's so different from day to day. I mean, it was freezing cold about 3 days ago, so that just about highlights Britain and its weather and why we're so fascinated by it. But for those who don't know, Adam, I wonder if it's possible for you to tell us a little bit about yourself, what you're doing at the moment, and more about you and Niche Website Builders.
Sure. So I am one of the co-founders. Started with me and my business partner, Mark. Interesting stories. We built this business during the pandemic, and me and Mark have only ever met in real life like 4 times. So I think that's a really cool kind of like story to tell. But Niche Website Builders is essentially a company that helps website owners, affiliate site owners, content site owners with four major pain points, really, I think. One is good keyword research. So we do the keyword research for them. Good quality content. So we have our own in-house team of content writers. We don't use freelancers or outsource anything. We actually format and upload any content that we create to people's websites. So there's no bottleneck of getting it live. And then obviously good link building is very hard and difficult. And we employ a couple of different methods to handle link building for clients too. So that's Niche Website Builders. And I've been involved personally in the affiliate marketing space for a number of years. Prior to starting this, I was running my own portfolio of niche sites, 6-figure portfolio of niche sites for a number of years too.
So you started Niche Website Builders. How did you come from managing your own portfolio of your own clearly successful affiliate websites to actually putting that out as a service, as a done for you service?
Yeah, so I mean, I've been involved in affiliate marketing in one way or the other for so long. Like even back in the day when it was profitable to run dating adverts on Plenty of Fish, or to run email submit campaigns on the search engine 7 search. They were the golden days of affiliate marketing where traffic was insanely cheap. And then for a number of years, I was always dabbling with that kind of stuff on the side. And for a number of years, I was working for different agencies. So I worked for an advertising network. So I've got a little glimpse into how the whole ad network world runs, and then into a more traditional agency. And while I was working there, I had some money saved up, and I thought, well, I'm doing this for everyone else. Why don't I do it for myself? So I was looking on Empire Flippers one night, back when you could buy websites on Empire Flippers for around the $10,000 mark. I mean, they don't sell them that cheap anymore.
Oh, they certainly don't.
And almost on a whim, I thought, I'm going to do this. Like it was pretty much all the money, it was all my savings at the time. If I'm going to buy this site, and I'm going to work on it. And I say it on a whim. I decided on a whim, but then it took quite some time for me to do the due diligence. It was my first site, and I wanted to make sure I was doing everything right. And it was in a niche I knew nothing about. It was a smoker and barbecue niche, and I like eating barbecue food. I have no idea how to cook it. We don't even really have smokers here in the UK, so it's kind of, what am I going to do? And then for the next 7 months, I just spent working on that site, mostly writing lots of content, like lots and lots of content. Evenings, weekends, I did my partner's head in just because I was always working on this site. And then I sold it about 7 months after I bought it for a very nice profit, and thought, this is awesome. This is more than I make a year in my day job. Like I need to do more of this. And that was my entry into the world. And then how we came to start the company was fast forward a couple of years, I was on someone's podcast talking about how I'd sold one of my sites. By this point, I'd had a portfolio. And my business partner, Mark, had heard me on there, and I was venting almost about my frustrations of finding good quality people to help, building, a good team of VAs, a good team of content writers, the frustrations of finding someone good on Upwork and then having them disappear 3 months later with no word of where they've gone to. And he was having the same problems with his portfolio. He also has a portfolio of sites, and he just messaged me on Facebook out of the blue and said, I'm going to come down from Reading down to South Wales and see you for the day. And I said, okay, I'll come down. And we did, and we started chatting and said, well, between the pair of us, we had a big enough portfolio to employ a small team to help us with our own sites, and we did. And then very quickly we realized that if we needed this kind of help, then other people would also need this kind of help too. And we launched it as a service, and fast forward 20 months, we're a very large team doing lots of different things now.
Yeah, and your success is kind of it's got bigger and bigger and bigger, almost on a monthly basis, hasn't it? Over that 20 months.
Yes, we pretty much hired someone new, every week since we started. So we're very close to a team of 100 now, where most of those are based here in the UK. So yeah, it almost feels like we're always hiring, which is fun. There's always a new face. It's always exciting when there's new people joining, but it's stressful. Finding the good people consistently is stressful and hard.
Sure. Yeah, I can imagine. So obviously to get affiliate sites to work, SEO forms part of that, and obviously what one would traditionally call, potentially black hat, if you dared to give it a title. What sort of attracted you to that sort of side of search engine optimization? What did you find that was interesting about it?
I think it's more to do with sort of reducing the time it takes to pull off these projects. I mean, the SEO is a very slow burner compared to something like paid media, where it's you turn on an ad campaign and it's instant. Whereas SEO, right, realistically, you should set your time horizons at the 12-month plus mark for it to see actually some good results. Not always. Sometimes they're quicker and sometimes they're longer, but it's very much I do a lot of work up front and then reap the rewards in the future. And I think it's just my personality coming from more of a bit of a paid ad background that I always want to try and find ways to speed that up, which has led me to look at various different, what we may call black hat tactics, to try and speed this process up a little bit.
Well, yeah, and at the end of the day, if your driver is getting a site up and running, you can see that adding to your bottom line. If you've got a portfolio of sites, yeah, I can see the attraction to that most certainly. So let's say you've got a time machine and you could go back and you could talk to yourself at the start of this career. What would you tell yourself?
I'd probably tell myself not to sell that first site so quickly, if I'm being completely honest.
Right.
I sold the site for $59,000. So,
right.
And then that was great to me. That was awesome. I had that money, and then I quit my job to do that full time with that money in the bank. But fast forward a year or so after I'd sold it, I actually found out who I'd sold it to. They were using like a pen name to buy the site. They didn't want someone to know they were buying these sites.
A nom de plume.
Yeah. And I actually found out then that they'd sold the site 3 months after they bought it off me for over 100,000, because it was on a very upward trajectory. It was my first time of selling a site, and someone kind of dangled $60,000 in my face, and I said yes, 100%, let's do it. And not just because it's a regret, not just because of kind of the money, the upfront money part, but also when I quit my job, it then put pressure on me to repeat that success fairly quickly to have an income coming in. Whereas if I'd kept it and I'd kept the cash flow going, I basically would have been able to work full time on the site with an income rather than having no income and working full time on a site. And then, I just put on needless stress on myself.
Yeah. So hold on to that site and let it bloom a little bit more.
One thing which I would definitely say is once you've got your first successful site, is use that cash flow to snowball another site rather than sell and then buy another one. Just because it's just so there's so many factors in terms of time horizon between starting a site or buying a site and improving it to making that same kind of revenue again. If you don't have that stress, then you're likely to do things correct. Even though we've just talked about trying to speed things up, you're more likely to do things correct, which has some longevity then.
I guess it's very easy to see the pound signs or dollar signs and and jump for it, but I guess it's a bit like when you rent out houses. They say, buy 3, sell 2, keep 1. Sort of thing. If you're renting houses, and I wonder if that's perhaps a similar sort of thing with niche sites as well. That you buy perhaps some, see which one's the best, flip the other 2, keep the best one, that sort of thing.
Yeah, well, interestingly, I did that exact thing last year. So I spent most of last year building 12 websites on age domains for my own personal portfolio. And that was very much the mindset of, I'm going to build these 12 and then I'm going to see which ones take off the quickest. And then I'm going to invest my time and energy into those first and foremost to bring them to, as big as I can. So yeah, it's very much that back a horse, see which one's winning and then back that horse basically.
Yeah. That is interesting. So on the flip side, what's been your biggest howler? What's been the thing that you face palmed and said, "Gosh, shouldn't have done that"? What did you learn?
Almost the opposite. So I built up another site afterwards, and I put it up for sale, and I put it for sale for $115,000. I was thinking, this is great, this is amazing. And then I'd had quite a bit of interest, and at the time, I believed the site was worth, a very high multiple, essentially. And I got a very firm offer for $105,000, and I said no, and turned it down. And then, literally about 8 or 9 weeks after that, the site was hitting a Google update, and I eventually sold the site for $10,000. So it was a painful mistake, that one. I guess what I learned from it was to be flexible. To be more open-minded rather than very rigid in exactly what I want and hear people out, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a painful lesson, but probably worthwhile nonetheless.
Yes. It's kind of shaped the type of investor I am now. There's 2 types of investors in this world, and what's interesting is I'm one type, and my business partner Mark is the other type. So I'm very much in it for quick turnarounds on sites, building them to a certain point and then selling them, or buying them, improving them, and then selling them. I like that capital. I like that capital gain. I like seeing a big number hit my account. The monthly cash flow to me, it's nice, but it's not really what excites me. Whereas Mark, he's sold one site recently, but that's the only site he's ever sold from his portfolio. He just loves the cash flow. He loves the security of having that money coming every month. To him, it's almost like chopping off an arm. If I was to say to him, sell one of your sites.
I can imagine. Yeah, that's it. That is. Yeah, it's interesting that also how complementary you guys are to one another, your styles and how you operate. Clearly has put you in good stead for the organization. Without that, you wouldn't have got the tremendous growth that you've got. So that's really good to see. So what are the sort of resources that you use when you're doing your your building and the SEO work, and what have you found helpful? What are you still using?
Yeah. So we use the most of the normal keyword research tools that you could think of, Ahrefs and SEMrush. We've been testing quite a bit with Ben Adler's tool, Keyword Chef, which is a very interesting tool. I think Ben's done an awesome job with that tool. Basically allows you to find low competition keywords based on the search results. So if there's forums showing, or if there's Pinterest site showing, and that kind of thing. And a big shout out to Ben, because he's always adding to the tool. He's always listening to user feedback and adding. Another tool that we use is Keyword Cupid. Shout out to Leo, the owner of that tool as well. We're not affiliates for these tools, but they're what we use daily, and they're great. And Keyword Cupid is a clustering tool. So once we have like a list of keywords together, then we can use Leo's tool to cluster them into groups, which basically it just saves a lot of manual work of going through and kind of organizing them into succinct groups. There's still a bit of manual work to do at the end, because it's not perfect, but it's really good. We've also had some tools built internally. Probably one of the most used tools we have is a tool that allows us to put in a list of key seed keywords, and then it will pull out usually thousands of question-based keywords from Google's People Also Asked box. And we use that quite a bit in terms of a certain type of research if we're trying to build topical authority and topical relevance. We'll probably go into that in a bit, because I've got that a bit further down in my notes. But essentially that allows us to do some awesome things with our keyword research.
Sure. And are you listening to anybody on a podcast, or anyone that's sparked your interest on YouTube lately?
Yes. Craig Campbell's podcast is fun and entertaining. Doug Cunnington is really great. He has some awesome guests. Same as Spencer Hawes. I mean, what I like about those guys are they interview people who are kind of in the trenches doing this thing daily, and they get to talk about things which are not just theoretical. They're actually it's what they've done, and they share their experiences. Also, people like Alex from WP Eagle. I really enjoyed watching Alex build up his best Roofbox website and then sell it, which was awesome for him. Carl Broadbent. I know Carl's recently quit his job to do this full time as well.
Yes, yeah. He's building a super site, isn't he, at the moment?
His mega site, yeah, that's right. But I like Carl because he's very transparent. Like, he shares some of his URLs. He's very open with his profit and loss and what goes into these sites and timelines. I know he's having some issues still indexing his mega site right now, which lots of people may not talk about that, but he's very open and honest. So that's awesome. And then new people entering the scene who would try to do something similar. Keith Mint is a great channel for people to watch. Okay. He's doing something similar on a smaller scale, where he's over the shoulder, building a website, monthly updates, that kind of thing.
Right, excellent. That's good. I've watched Alex on WP Eagle a couple of times. His roofbox.com was really interesting. Do you think he went a bit too early on that?
I actually tried to buy that site from him.
So yes, you did, is the answer to my question, I guess.
Yeah. So it was held in Alex's company, and I would have had to pay VAT being from the UK, and he ended up selling to a US buyer that doesn't have that VAT kind of thing. So I think Alex took it to a great spot. I think it could definitely become a lot bigger from where it is, but that would require almost like next level, then taking it to the next level. And I think, to be fair to Alex, he did a great job. Like, everything that he's done there is awesome. And but yeah, it's nice when you run a case study like that, especially a long running case study, to have some kind of conclusion and end into it. And I know I think he's working on another case study now. So
yes,
but yeah, it kind of frees up funds to then go again, really.
Well, that's right. As you said, the thing is about it is it can become not just labour intensive, but monetary intensive and I guess the first few times you want to get some money in the bank so you can do it properly and on a larger scale later on. I suppose that's the goal, isn't it?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. So going back to SEO and black hat SEO, what's a black hat myth that you'd like to debunk?
So it's around the topic that I'm going to speak at the event at, age domains. And I think there's two parts to it that I see people quoting and misrepresented all the time. And that's age domains that have either been redirected to another website in the past, or that have expired or gone offline, or haven't had a website on them for a long time, sometimes a couple of years, that they don't work, or they don't work as well. I think that's rubbish. I've got plenty of examples to show where both of those work very well. And then the other one, which I think needs a bit of debunking, is that 301 redirects don't work anymore. People, redirecting an age domain into your current site. There's definitely a right and a wrong way of doing that, and there's definitely some nuances that go around that to get the most out of it.
Right.
So I think those are the areas which in our talk, I'm going to show some real life examples of both of those.
Alive and well.
Yes. Yes, doing very well.
Excellent. And what sort of hot subjects do you think there are in SEO at the moment that kind of need tackling rather than debunking? What are people kind of missing the point on at the moment?
I think lots of people are missing the point at the moment around keyword research, more specifically around this. They're still in the mindset of one keyword per page. That's just not the way Google ranks content anymore. We should be looking at pages as topics rather than a single keyword. It's fine when you're doing your research to think about primary keyword, because that's what you're going to put in your rank tracker, and that kind of gives you the initial steer. But realistically, we want to be thinking about what are the subtopics of this keyword that we can include. How can we make it more relevant than just that one primary keyword? Are there small differences? Are there permutations? Are there even questions? Related questions that you can add in to this piece of content that Google wants to see there, or is expecting to see there, to make sure that we're getting the most out of that. And then this comes back to the tool I mentioned earlier, where we pull out these thousands of questions. So basically, we say to Google, here's our list of primary keywords, or seed keywords as we call them. Go away and pull back all of the people also ask questions to do with this topic as a whole. And then we've got this big list of keywords. We run them through Keyword Coupe to cluster them together, because typically they're very long tail and they don't have tons of search volume together on their own, and we want to group them together in terms of relevancy. And then the thinking behind that is if we go away and we then create all of this question-based content, we do a good job of clustering all of the related terms together. We do a great job of internally linking all of these new pieces of content together. What we've essentially done is said to Google, hey, tell us what you think is relevant about this high-level topic. Thank you very much. And we present it back to you as a mirror, and we create this web of knowledge that now resides on our site. And I mean, there's no way that Google can't see you as an authority if you present all of those answers back to them in a very concise way.
True. Yeah. No, it's very interesting. Very, very interesting. Yeah, it's certainly some food for thought there. It's got my brain ticking. All the mistakes I've probably made. But getting back to the conference for a moment, you touched on the fact that you're probably going to be talking about age domains and expired domains. Could you give us a hint as to what sort of direction that's going to go in? Yes,
I'm going to look at how you should vet one of these domains. We see so many examples of people coming to us saying, can we work on one of these age domains they found? And I honestly think 80% of the time we put this through our own vetting process, and we say we wouldn't recommend you build on it. So there's There's lots of little things that go into finding a good age domain.
Right.
And then I'm going to talk about some case studies and examples of how we've built on these kinds of websites, what we built on them, the nuances around how to set them up in terms of site structure, how to recreate all of old URL structure to make sure that you maintain as much power as possible.
Yeah.
And then also to show some examples of cases where we've done these 301 redirects and they've worked out extremely well.
Fantastic, excellent. Well, that certainly sounds like a talk to come and understand. I see quite a lot on some of the shows that are on YouTube. You know, Craig's and Chris's age domains come up a lot, and I understand that it isn't just as simple as buying an expired domain from GoDaddy, sticking it up, and away we go. There is so much more to it,
and also not messing up your current site if you were going to do a redirect to it as well. That's a big one I've seen, is people messing up their primary site.
Wow. Well, that all sounds brilliant. We look forward to welcoming you on the 14th of October to talk to us. If we want to know more about you, where do we go? Where should people be looking?
Yeah, well, first of all, thanks for the opportunity, Paul. It's been great. So you can head over to our website, which is nichewebsite.builders. We've also got 2 Facebook pages, so you can find us Niche Website Builders and Niche Website Flippers. And we've also got a podcast and YouTube channel ourselves. So the Niche Website Builder podcast and YouTube channel.
Fantastic. So some interesting reading and watching to be going along with before the 14th of October. And I hope everyone comes with some great questions to ask you after your presentation. Well, thanks again, Adam, for taking the time out and talking to us. We look forward to seeing you on the 14th of October. And if you want to buy tickets to SEO Underground, please head over to seounderground.co.uk and buy your tickets there. Don't forget, there is an early bird incentive at the moment where there is £50 off. And if you talk nicely to any of our speakers, they also have a secret code that they can furnish you with to get a further £50 off until the 14th of September. Thanks again, Adam, and we will talk again soon.